Good morning, everyone. I know we still have some registered attendees coming in, but we'll go ahead and start with opening remarks. Welcome to our PMI Montgomery County chapter's virtual lunch and learn for the month of August. Hoping everybody had a great summer break, and we're excited from a chapter leadership perspective to get after the second half of the program year. For those who don't know me, I'm Mr. Matt Lowy. I've had the honor and privilege of serving as your chapter president for the past 2 years, and elections will be coming out to your emails via e-ballot next month, and would love to continue the great service that I've provided. Okay, in terms of our schedule, our next in-person meeting and our first since June will be Wednesday, September 2nd, so 2 weeks from yesterday. We're excited to have Miss Michelle Lee Aganello be on our chapter stage for the first time in our 22-year history. She is bank certified. Bank is a framework for sales primarily, but she's put a twist on it to make it more uh, uh, team development and team performance, so that we were not successful in our projects by ourselves. So we need our uh, teams to be highly functioning, to come in under budget, to come in on schedule or ahead of schedule. So this will be a great presentation and motivating. She's a great speaker. She hosts a weekly LinkedIn show as well. So we're looking forward to that. And that'll be continuing our in-person and virtual simulcast. The virtual simulcast is free, and it's a good opportunity to earn 1.75 PDUs that go towards your PMI certifications. Okay, then in October, with football season around the corner, uh, this was a good opportunity that we didn't want to pass up. For those who have been in the National Capital Region area for the better part of this century, Mr. Chick Hernandez, who's worked for Comcast Sportsnet, ESPN 980, now Monumental Sports Network, recently retired, and he's on a speaking tour, kind of talking about leadership lessons from broadcasting. Is a broadcast a project? Not necessarily. That probably falls more under operations, but just in terms of leadership lessons from a career and how to lead a team, how to lead yourself. So, uh, for local sports fans, for Redskins, Commanders, this could be a fun opportunity. So we look forward to welcoming Mr. Hernandez in October, and that'll be the first Wednesday, October 7th, at our normal location at That's Amore Restaurant in Rockville, Maryland. Okay, if you haven't logged into PMI.org lately, since the PMBOK release last November, or to just renew your membership, there's some good information. The standard for artificial intelligence in portfolio program and project management was released in June during the summer break. The CPMI certification has been popular. Out of our uh, over 2,000 members, 17 have it so far. So, as our speaker will get into today, there's not really that gold standard for AI quite yet. There's some development cloud AI certifications that Amazon and Microsoft offer for AI. But PMI really came out of the gate in 2022 with the uh, wide dissemination of Chat GPT to really get on CBT training for AI, and then how to leverage everything that can come with Gen AI into a project management, program management lens, and they're continuing to do that. So This is a good kind of desktop reference, similar to the project management body of knowledge. It's a little bit dry reading, but a good desktop reference and definitely good to look through it. And as you prepare for the CPMI certification after that coursework, I've found personally that taking standards and putting them into a Gen AI model for practice exams is worth the time. So that's something to consider as well. And then PMI's been marketing their MORE framework, which deals with managing perceptions, owning success, relentlessly reassessing, and then expand perspective. So there are 2 classes on that right now, and then this reference that's available for all active PMI members. And we'll have a lunch and learn on MORE and how to look at that framework and apply that framework into your daily successes, both professionally and personally. So stay tuned for that lunch and learn in September. Okay, if you need PDUs, we're one of the few chapters in the international global landscape of over 300 chapters to offer 95% of our content available on YouTube on demand. This presentation will join those 82 videos. PDU claim codes are available in the comment section. If one has retired and I didn't catch it, just send an email to chapter comms and we'll get that fixed for you. But if you're in need of PDUs and on a time crunch, want background noise throughout your workday instead of listening to music, since the pandemic started in 2020 when we started offering virtual and then virtual simulcast, a lot of good information and good speakers. So just a cheap plug there. We're also one of the few chapters in the global landscape that has our own sister Toastmasters chapter. So they meet virtually on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month and at the Rockville Library and Rockville Town Center in one of the meeting rooms on the third Wednesday. So that would have been yesterday, but their next meeting is virtually next Wednesday, the 26th. We can all improve on our public speaking. So no commitments to attend a meeting. At some point, if you want to invest in it, you'll have to become a Toastmasters International member. But if you just want to dip your toe in the water, see what it's like, if you're in a career transition right now and don't feel like you're representing yourself on interviews well, this could also be good in terms of being able to promote the value and the impact that you can give to an organization. So something to consider. We have Toastmasters leadership at all of our in-person meetings. So if you want to wait and talk to them, if you're going to join us on Wednesday, the 2nd of September, that'd be great. Okay, a training alert. If you're working in federal, state, or local government, Google is offering a public sector summit at the Convention Center in DC on October 20th. This is a free conference. So Google's definitely just within my professional Department of War surroundings. They've really led the way with GenAI.mil and offering training and really making defense federal employees, war federal employees, the art of the possible is what we can do with AI. Gemini's recently received information impact level 5, so some of that not classified information but sensitive or official use only information can go through those AI models, and I think they've really led the way for the public sector. So a lot of good keynotes from Google leadership, also a networking opportunity and also potentially a job seeking opportunity, as a lot of these mega conferences are. So we'll continue to publicize this on our weekly newsletters and on our LinkedIn group. But if you want to just put a quick plug in your calendar for this, that'd be great. Okay, our sister chapters are doing great things. I always believed in the Miracle on 34th Street approach of we're I'm confident in our offerings to you, but within a 50-mile radius, other chapters are also doing great things. So PMI WDC has their monthly chapter meeting in person at the New Virginia Tech campus in Arlington. So that'll be a speaker on kind of how your resume can tell a better story. So I know with the job market right now and the jobs report that came out earlier this summer, there's a lot of us who are on the outside looking in right now. And to be qualified for something, I just believe you just need to convince one person to give you that opportunity. But the resume reviews, especially in this AI world where a person may not even look at the first or second rounds, and they may just have AI tool use that. Storytelling through your resume is important. PMI Baltimore this weekend on Saturday has a volunteer opportunity with the Maryland Food Bank. You don't have to be a paid PMI Baltimore member to participate. Service is service. So, but you could meet other project managers as well. And then PMI Silver Spring down the road on 495 has a networking event, kind of a wine social happy hour. So good to meet some of your fellow project managers in the area as well. Okay. Now is what you actually signed up for and are giving of your lunch. So we're ecstatic to welcome Mr. Jason Howe to our chapter stage for the first time. He's the CEO and founder of Thomas Systems, a new company in the government IT consulting space. He's recently a retired federal CIO and senior military IT advisor. He's been a multiple panelist and keynote speaker for defense and war IT conferences, a lot of the AFCEA chapters around the country. And he's also the second best thing to come from Purdue University, first being Drew Brees, of course. So he's a former, I've worked for Mr. Howe, I've worked with Mr. Howe, a great leader. He always preached, start every day with a laugh and start every presentation with a joke. So as we welcome him to the stage, we hope he still holds himself to that standard. So allow us a quick transition on slides and welcome Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Lowy, especially for mentioning Purdue. Not everybody is willing and able to go after Purdue references, so I really do appreciate that. Let's see. Can you see my slide?
Yep, sure can, sir.
Awesome. Okay. Hey, thanks again for the invite. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for everybody participating. And I hope it's participation. Like, I really want this to be more interactive. You don't want to hear me talk for 40 minutes any more than I want to talk to you for 40 minutes. I hope we can talk to each other. And AI is a great topic. Like, none of us are experts. None of us have all the answers. And so I hope this is more collaborative than a one-way feed. Definitely give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know what you're thinking as we go through a quick presentation on AI, like the hot topic, right? And I wanted to give you the answer up front. And the answer for me is really related to this Sun Tzu quote about tactics and strategy. AI is a great tactician. AI was not, for me, as we'll talk through, a great strategist. And as we all know, strategy is what matters. So, want to really dig into a use case, an example. I had heard, like I think everybody here, the quotes from tech leaders about AI is great. AI is coming after a job, more jobs, different jobs. AI is going to be everything. It's going to be everywhere. And I personally had been using general AI to help with a variety of tasks, right? Who these days doesn't have AI help with a resume or a cover letter? But that's information you know, information you understand. I think everybody asks AI for help, maybe with travel, with emails. Again, you have this strong understanding out of the gate. But the promise of AI is that it's going to make you and me experts in what we don't know. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. As Mr. Lowy said, I didn't come here as a lawyer, had no background in the law, was IT my entire career. But this was the opportunity. Imagine last year, senior executive is retiring. I'd had some health issues I was working through. I was retiring, and an issue came up, a small issue, one I probably would have ignored any other time. But in my downtime, not knowing what my future held, I decided I'm going to use AI to go down this path of practicing law. Pretty immature practicing. I use that word pretty broadly. I asked Gemini, hey, draft me a letter, a demand letter. I had an issue at home with a repair. It did not go well. Draft me a letter to send to the company stating my displeasure and demanding my money back. It sounded too easy, right? Just write a letter. We all do that with AI, I think. But in writing that letter, let's see if I can change the slide here. I said, make it a strong letter. And oh my gosh, AI went scorched earth. Gemini said I was just guaranteed to win my entire lawsuit if I went down that path. I mean, this was a no-brainer. I had no way to lose. And in drafting this very legal document, some of which references I didn't really understand, I thought, wow, I don't know about this. So I sent it to a different LLM, which then said, you should not send that letter. That's wrong. And I went back to those thoughts, right? The thoughts we all have of, yeah, but they told me AI is great. They told me AI was going to fix all my problems. And so what do I do now? And what I decided to do is what we'll talk about here today. I decided to practice the art of law and really dig in a little bit more into how can I be successful in this case, in these legal use cases. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Thanks, Mr. Lowy, Jason Howe. I did start this company, Thalamus Systems, and we could talk about that later if you want. But I'm here to talk about a personal experience, not related to that company. Really testing this theory. I think I'm a relatively smart person. I should be able to take AI and do something that I don't know how to do. In this case, practice the law. So what we're going to talk about is kind of what those legal cases are, and what I found to be the ultimate key things, the ultimate key insights. So we're not going to dig into details. I had no plans to speak to any nuance, but really at a high level, what were the key takeaways? So let's jump in. These are the 5 litigation cases. Again, it's not about the case itself. It was really about me being my own attorney with AI at my side. And could I successfully navigate the law? Could I successfully communicate my findings and negotiate with the other party and really get the outcome that I was looking for. So real briefly, the first one was the genesis of this. It was a home repair that had gone wrong, and all I wanted was my money back. So I used AI, drafted that letter. It did not go well. That was one of the things we're going to talk about, is that general LLM, I thought it would be enough, and it was not. That one's been decided. We settled out of court. At the same time, I had a second issue had come up about a travel voucher I purchased ahead of time. Busy guy at work. I had put it off several years. I went to use it, and it did not go well. That's another case where it has been settled already. In both cases, I filed in court. There was no settlement before the court case. So all of these are actual litigation. The third one, unfortunately, was a car accident, not a big injury, but again, a claim that needed to be settled. That one has not yet been settled. The fourth one, and by far the biggest by dollars, were some construction defects from a home that we had built recently. That one also is not settled. And then I know you're thinking, this guy's got some bad luck. That health issue that I had a surgery on my neck, complications during surgery, it did not go well. I had to repeat the surgery. And this is where I think it's important. In that case, I did not represent myself. Because of the complexities of medical litigation, even the dedicated LLMs that we'll talk about, it was too complex for me. And so I had to know where the boundary of my limits were, like what I was comfortable doing. And today, not having this confidence in AI, where do we draw the line? And where do I say I need an expert to step in? And I think as we talk today, it's important for everybody to recognize while we're willing to do some things in the AI world, we also have to understand when not to use AI. So in that case, because of the medical complexities, we hired an attorney. But the first four cases, the total claims exceeded $500,000. So these aren't like write a letter and hope for the best. These are real cases and significant amounts of money. But for me to know, is AI that good? I had to do it. And so I did. We're going through two of the cases. We've settled two of the cases. And here's what came from that. Three key insights. The first one being that AI infrastructure, the general LLM, didn't work for me. So I was thinking about that early on. Why didn't it work for me? Right? Again, we've heard all the promises. We've all used AI successfully in some basic use cases. So why was I struggling with general LLMs? Any of the big three I could pick weren't able to do what I needed to do specifically around the law and being a lawyer. And so, as you could see, I kind of equated it to this medical analogy. I started my career at 18 as a Navy corpsman, thinking I would grow in the field of medicine. Didn't take long for me to figure out my bedside manner is horrible. So I did switch to technology, but I still remember enough about medicine that I remembered when we all had these general doctors, right? There were no specialties, specialists. And over time, what we found as a community, as a world, is that we needed specialization, that was important, right? None of us want a general practitioner doctor to do heart surgery. We want a trained heart surgeon. And likewise, where I was trying to use a general LLM, I needed a specific trained LLM. So what I did is I went and used this company. It's called docdraft.ai. There are alternatives out there. This is the one I chose because it was grounded in the law. And I will tell you, I ran several use cases where I had a general LLM create a document and had it created with DocDraft. And it was incredible. The difference between the two in the quality, in the verbiage, in understanding how lawyers speak. And if you think about being a lawyer, it's about communication. There's the law, yes. But if you can't communicate your case effectively, if you can't communicate to people, clearly articulate how the law applies to your case, you're not going to have success. And so what DocDraft did is it allowed me to really be a better attorney. In this case, they call it a pro se attorney because I represent myself versus hiring an attorney, but you're still practicing the law just for yourself. And DocDraft did a great job. It does today, continues to do a great job. But from an infrastructure perspective, a general LLM, like the general doctor, isn't what I needed. And I didn't need a robot in court. DocDraft didn't need to go and try to argue my case for me because that part is about communicating. It's about the person. And so that was my first lesson, was the general LLM isn't what I needed. And as I look at other times today where I use AI, I now default to finding a trained and qualified AI solution versus going back to a general LLM. So that was important for me. The other thing I'll tell you about DocDraft is for how good AI is, they also let you retain a person who will read the documents that are created. So not only do they just create the document, but they would have an attorney look at that document for you and give you feedback. Not necessarily is this law the right law, but is it the right framing of the problem? Are you using the right principles of being a lawyer? So these are the soft skills, right? This is the soft side of lawyering that DocDraft couldn't help me with. And we're going to talk about this, that AI today, in my use case, did not replace the person. But it sure did let me be a way more effective attorney than I ever would have been otherwise. But as you think about your infrastructure, think about the use of specialized AI instead of general AI, because that was my first lesson. My second lesson is related to that statement that I became a passable attorney. Like I was able to create legal pleadings and legal documents that had a lawyer's review and were pretty good. I am not the best lawyer in the area, and I never will be. But I was better than 20 years ago, that first day attorney starting a new job, because AI advanced me beyond that day one attorney of the past. And it got me to thinking, what is career growth when somebody who has no lawyer background can be a passable lawyer? What does it mean when somebody with no software development skills can create code? What happens to the career pyramid that I grew up with in the Air Force, right? Where we all started with go learn the basics. Go learn the tactical pieces of a job. And then over time, you grow from a tactician to a manager, to a supervisor, then a manager, and then a senior leader, right? That pyramid growth that we were all accustomed to. AI says, well, I'm the technician. I'm the tactical executor. And so it got me to thinking, what happens to our traditional career model? And how do we as leaders grow our team? How do we hire that person out of college and not use the traditional career pyramid of the past? Because they're coming in with AI knowledge. They're coming in with an AI background. And given the right specialized AI tools, can be very effective on day one. And so what does it mean to grow people in the world of AI? And it got me to thinking about the strategy, right? That while AI is a great tactician, what AI didn't do for me in any way was give me a strategy in any of my court cases. Even the ones that are settled, it really did not help me in the least bit know what specifically should I ask for? How should I ask for it? And what was my strategy on what I'm willing to accept? Right? That strategy level, it really didn't help me at all. And it got me to thinking about this growth model where senior leaders really become strategic architects. Imagine you have your people, and we're never going to get rid of our people. And you have AI, bots, agentic AI, pick your term, and you're going to manage all of them together as an entity. And you have to help your folks know how to grow themselves. And this is where I go back to AI had no soft skills. AI could write a demanding letter that would have killed me in my negotiations. Strategically, I would have been in terrible, terrible condition based on those early letters with scorched earth. Because strategically, what I wanted was effective negotiations. And that LLM just didn't understand the strategy that I had to bring as part of our successful collaboration, me and AI. And so I think as leaders, we have to double down on soft skills. And we really have to focus on how do we make this shift from tactician growth to strategic growth. Mr. Lowy.
Yes, sir. From the instant tactician standpoint, I just see the risk in there of somebody comes in, AI is only going to be able to develop things for them based on published information or at least trends. So there's risk in that they think they have all the answers, but they don't have the institutional knowledge that comes with being a part of an organization or a team for months or years. And then that can damper the culture because they continually say the wrong things, but because they've used AI in some ways to get wins, they're looked at as more dependable than some of the existing personnel that have been there for years and are accurate. So, as a supervisor or a manager, what would your advice be for how to continue to mold the new person, but not at the expense of the people you've already had? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a great point. And key to what we're really talking about here as leaders, right? How do we grow people given this shift in tactical execution? as you said, people used to learn by doing the tactical work. And now as they don't do the tactical work, how do they learn? And that's that stage 2 in the center, right? It really becomes auditing AI and finding gaps and learning through finding where AI gaps, issues, incorrect statements, all of those things occur. And that's what I found is that as I shifted my focus from, I was never going to learn the law in 6 months. I was never going to become an attorney, a real trained, educated attorney in 6 months. But I needed to grow enough that I would be successful in my court cases. And I started focusing on how to identify gaps and issues. How do I identify the biggest risk areas in AI for this specific functional area? And I think that's a key piece of this is within a functional area, Mr. Lowy, you and I being IT, right? It's how within that functional area do I learn the issues of AI and how to audit the outputs of AI to know, to have the confidence that we're going to put that against a $500,000 effort, that we're going to put it against a $2 million government contract, that we're going to put it against a $5 million program. So again, this isn't about playing in a sandbox. It's the shift in mindset to where AI is now making decisions on our behalf. And that role, we've got to learn how to do that. I don't think I know today how to be an effective AI auditor in IT. But here's what I believe, that we all have to learn how to be effective AI auditors in the future. Does that answer your question?
Yep, sure does, sir.
Awesome. Okay, so that's number 2, right? You have to know how to grow yourself, in my lawyering case, how to grow your team from a leadership perspective. But there's a third area, and it's related to that growing your team. It's related to those individual specialized AI solutions. What I found was DocDraft alone wasn't enough. While it was a good lawyer platform, a good law platform, not everything I was doing required a legal or a law platform. That as I branched out, I needed other AI solutions, again, defaulting away from general LLMs as a way to manage this highly relevant and real world task. And so I found myself becoming an orchestrator of AI solutions. If you ask Gemini, what solution should I use to write a government RFP, because I did, it said you should go use Claude. The Claude is the best solution for that task. DocDraft was the right solution for me. But in many ways, all of us leverage AI today in very unique ways with specialized AI solutions. And what I found for me in working through this lawyering test was I became a strategic conductor, helping all the different specialized AI solutions integrate. And it was more critical than ever that I convey the strategy to each specialized AI solutions. So as I thought about project management, and I thought about our, in my mind, near-term future, where we have legal AI solutions, specialized legal AI solutions. And we have specialized scheduling AI solutions. And we have specialized cost evaluation AI solutions. That we have to be there to give our strategic intent, to give our direction of what the right outcome should be. What AI never could do in my legal use cases was tell me what my outcome should be. That was for me to tell AI so that it could help me achieve that objective. And so I found myself not being a doer, not being a writer, in this case, not being a graphic designer, right? AI is pretty good at tactically doing those things. And so what I had to learn was how to communicate with AI. I had to learn not to be a doer. And Mr. Lowy knows me. I grew up being a doer. And there's a lot of sayings about when you move up the chain, that you should continue to do what got you there. You should still be the person that got you promoted. And so don't shed everything about yourself as you grow. In this case, I really had to stop trying to be a tactician so that I could spend my effort on being a strategist and an orchestrator. And that was hard for me personally to make that mindset shift. And so that's the third takeaway, was from a CIO or just a general leadership perspective. If we believe that AI is tactically pretty good, I'm going to use the term good enough, and that we need to grow our folks to be AI auditors and help AI see its gaps, see its issues, see where it's not getting to a strategic outcome that we've established. And if we believe that multiple AI solutions are going to be used, specialized AI solutions that are trained like we train our people on specific functional areas, I don't know that we're ready. I'll say I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that outcome, for that reality to hit. And so that's the third area where I had to grow personally and really get to, what do I want? But there was another area. So we talked about those three areas that I learned from. But I keep asking myself this question, and I'm going to open this question up, and I hope some folks chime in with thoughts. But we've all grown hearing about build a team, have your team. No one person has all the expertise needed in a project, in a program. There is no one person that can execute every role. So I think, like me, you grew up the same way. Have a team. Consult with a variety of folks. Have mentors. Talk about the potential decisions. And so when I think of today, shouldn't we be actively bringing in specialized AI solutions, specialized AI capabilities to feed into our decision-making process, just like we have a team of people. And some of those people we trust more than others because we have a longer history with them. Some we trust in certain expertise and maybe not in other expertise where they really didn't grow from a tactician. Is AI another team member or two team members or 10 team members? And if they are today part of your decision making, have you built a path to AI enabled success where your folks can look at that growth chart and know how to grow themselves into what I think we all know is an AI future? Like, we can all, I think, state that as a fact, that AI is not going away. And so how are we going to change? How are we going to grow? Because leveraging AI is what's going to make us successful. So that's the question I hope to have a discussion about, is what are everybody here doing to incorporate AI? And do you trust it enough that it's making your $1 million solution or your decision for you today? And if not, do you have the same problems I had, those 3 areas where I needed specialized AI solutions? Like, I need trained people, I needed trained AI. And I myself wasn't on a career growth trajectory for this new career I had signed up for. And had I changed myself from being a doer to being an AI orchestrator? So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a little perspective. Again, for me, I'm not rich. Like, $500,000 is a lot of money to me. This is not insignificant to my future, to my career. But like you, I think I'd heard all the stories about how great AI was. And so it took me going through this and continuing to go through this to really understand where my personal gaps were and where I needed to go. So I'll end with, just again, Sun Tzu talking about tactics. We all know tactics of a variety of functional areas. AI is a pretty good tactician today with those specialized AI solutions. But those didn't get me to where I needed to be, because strategy is still the key requirement for victory, however you define your victory. All right, Mr. Lowy, how can we have a conversation? Can I just open it up for questions?
Yes, sir. So, just so people aren't talking over each other, if you want to raise your hand, you can take yourself off of mute. I guess while people are coming up with some thoughts, I'll start. You're the CEO of a new company. At some point in the future, assuming opportunities come, you'll be looking to hire human capital. In light of what you said about using AI, and going back to my opening remarks about not having a gold standard certification, like, what are you really looking for in doers under you, program management, project management, business development aside, on a resume as a future hiring manager? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll start with, my first answer is, there are HR specific AI solutions that can absolutely help you achieve your objectives. Again, it's not about pumping 20 resumes into ChatGPT. It's about a highly skilled and trained AI solution focused on HR decision making. And so that's now my default, right? Is to go and acquire the expertise, people/AI expertise, to get specific outcomes. But in general, I would say my biggest shift is towards soft skills. That, like a lawyer, a robot talking to a judge is not as successful as a person that knows how to communicate effectively, right? If you think about the law and litigation, when you have a jury, it's about convincing people. And facts don't convince people, people convince people. And so it just really has highlighted to me how important soft skills are in our collective future And it goes for program or project management as well, right? How do I effectively communicate the state of a project? Given that AI tactically can produce detailed facts, it becomes more critical than ever that we become great communicators to effectively share those facts.
Yep. Couldn't say it better, sir. A little bit of traffic in chat about uh, junior and middle management getting opportunities. They only have so much on paper to put on their resumes, but just getting that opportunity to meet the prerequisite for experience is getting harder and harder. What would your advice to young professionals coming out of undergraduate or graduate programs, motivated to make a difference, but continuing to hit that wall be?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing in my mind is that shift to strategic intent. That when I was growing up in the Air Force, right, I was able to live at a tactical level for many, many years and grow tactically, right, even within my acquisition background. I went to 101 training and 201 training and 301 training, and I was able to participate in programs, go through acquisitions end to end, and build that experience. I think what we're seeing now is that as AI becomes that tactician, we need to focus more on communicating our strategic intent effectively. And I guess I'll give you an example. You know, one area, as you said, starting a small business that I thought about is proposals, requests for proposals, and then the subsequent review of the proposal. I'm sure it's no shock to anybody here that many, if not all companies now use AI to draft proposals based on a request for proposal. I would say even within the government, request for proposal becomes more AI focused over time. And what that does is it standardizes things and it eliminates variance. And so when you write your proposal, obviously Claude is very good at reading the RFP and answering every single requirement. And it will answer it affirmatively every time, whether you have those skills or don't have those skills, whether it's 100% true or 99% true. Claude will say, well, of course we can do that. Of course we have that. Of course. And so when you sit now through source selection, where's the differentiator? How do you trust what you're seeing? How do you choose wisely? Imagine how hard our lives are becoming because of AI, because tactically it's doing more and more. And so I think as you grow to middle management, one thing to think about is how to grow your organization. Again, you have a tactician in AI. What you don't have is a visionary who can describe an organization that effectively operates in the context of AI. Then instead of thinking yourself as a doer, you need to earlier in your career move up that chain and think of yourself as a leader. You're leading AI. AI are trained people. And so you've got to shift your thinking to really say earlier in your career, how do I grow my organization knowing that AI is real? And I think if you can do that effectively, that you will be promoted because you'll have those strategic outcomes that leadership is looking for.
And then in terms of the anti-AI, not to get into data centers and saving water and the environment, but more just like people look at like a graphic that we can tell the marketing images. I was at the Montgomery County Fair, cheap plug, it's open till Saturday, uh, earlier this week, and like even like the deep fried Oreos or like an AI image and everything like. And I think we're seeing like the AI slop and a lot of negative involvement around, oh, like AI created that, or they kept the double hyphens in, so it demerits thought leadership articles and things like that. Like, I think there's a happy medium in terms of using AI, but not just a copy and paste job to maintain that confidence. But how do you feel about kind of AI disclaimers and just that negative? Even though AI has only existed for 4 years, we're already seeing like a backlash.
Yeah, and I think you will, right? I think we've not learned how to coexist with AI. And back to my use case, my legal use case. I guess here's how I look at it. We've had hammers for a long time. And when you use a hammer to build a wall, if the wall doesn't end up right, was it the tool's fault or the operator's fault? When you use a drill, if you drill the hole too deep, was it the drill's fault? Or did you have to learn how to effectively use the tool in your hand? I think about the medical use cases where 100 years ago, we couldn't do what we do today because tools became better. And for all the fears of the tools in the past, we've all become accustomed and comfortable with the tools that we have, right? I'll give the example of full self-driving in a car. 20 years ago, none of us probably would have been or should have been comfortable with full self-driving at that time. I think these tools, it's about our coexistence and our connections. And what we've got to do, if we want to be successful, we've got to learn how to use the tools effectively. And that's what I had to learn in being a practicing attorney, was how to use the tools effectively to reach my strategic intent. And so I think there are a lot of concerns, but I also think over time, things work themselves out. The other thing I'll say is, a lot of the data center discussion, a lot of the concerns are real about overusing AI. But being an auto mechanic on the side, I remember 40 years ago when we averaged like 10 or 15 miles per gallon in our vehicles. We were not effective in how we used gasoline. Today, I think we're on a path to an average of 30 miles per gallon, effectively using our gasoline. Over time, we'll continue to do better. The same thing will happen with AI. Where we're less efficient today, we will figure out how to be more efficient. I have no concerns there. It really comes down to our relationship with AI and how we use those tools. And I don't think a lot of us define our strategic outcomes in a way that let us leverage the tools that are available to us today.
Concur.
Anybody out there like AI use cases you want to share? Thoughts on our coexistence? Nobody. Well, there you go. So you heard mine. You heard me take a risk in using AI for real life use cases where I was completely and totally unqualified to do what I did. And I required, it was critical that AI do the tactical work because I never could have gotten anywhere without leveraging AI. again, I wasn't going to go to law school and become an attorney and go spend years becoming a better attorney to get at these use cases. It was AI or nothing. And hopefully this shed some light on the lessons that I learned through that process.
Definitely, and I think we're learning that every uh, instance of life can have like an AI benefit. I do youth sports coaching and put in like baseball stats in to say like, is this batting order make sense, and like uh, relay success. Fantasy football season starting, and people are using AI of like, here are all the players available. What's my next pick? So we're gonna see like, even in recent past years, like it takes longer for the person to make a pick because they're asking AI what they should do, and like things as silly as that. So I think in every industry and every facet, there's AI.
Yeah,
There's a question. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, sports is another great example of where today we enter some data in and we get some value. But imagine that not far from today, right? If you like baseball, that the video feeds are going to tell you how to perfect your swing. But what they won't do is force your eyes to focus on that baseball when you're swinging the bat. Like, while it can tactically tell you how to improve your swing, you have to coexist with that solution because we, the people, aren't going away. It's just going to make us more effective.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had one question in chat with some comms issues. Rajat, uh, he loved when you said that you have to be strategic since AI is a tactician. And his question was, how much visionaries do we need? So, like, where's that wisdom in the C-suite, or having like that kind of 30 to 40-year career uh, person as a doer? But how many visionaries should organizations and agencies have uh, that are kind of more laying out the future, but not necessarily executing it?
Yeah. I think we all become visionaries. I don't think there is the lack of a visionary in the future. And so I'll give you my 10-year from now thought. Um, Not only will we have AI, we will have effective robots. I think a lot of us use a robot to vacuum our floors, to do other things in our lives, to drive our cars, maybe. That will continue and will grow exponentially. And we'll have robots doing manual tasks. And we will all have to become the visionaries that help all of the tools at our disposal make us realize the objectives that we set forth. And again, I think it's a big shift. I think we all are raised to be tacticians today, and we're going to have to think differently about how we grow internally and externally.
Yep, Amazon Prime Air just came out with a press release yesterday. They expect to be in 500 more cities and towns by the end of the calendar year. So, drones in the sky delivering packages.
That's right.
Tony, you had a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess I just wanted to sort of react to Jason's presentation, and Jason, thanks for sharing your experiments with AI. I'm actually very shocked that you've done that, and I'm pleased that you've had success on two of those four cases where you used AI and that you had positive outcomes. That's really impressive, shocking, and that's great. Personally, I haven't used AI for anything professionally and or personally other than simply summarizing information, getting information about topics, and sometimes it does a great job of that. Other times, not so much. Sometimes it's not pulling from really useful, good sources. Um, but I guess I'm curious. I mean, you and Matt have shared a little bit how you've used AI and things. I'm just curious for the other participants how they've been using AI in their life, professionally or personally. I don't really I don't know a lot of people who are really using AI much, so I'm just curious to, put that question out to the other attendees how they're using it.
And feel free to come off mute or put it in chat.
Hi, Matt. This is Wendy Shokrai, and I wanted to thank Jason for walking through, some of the challenges that you had, but also knowing that you needed that, perspective to change your mindset and know where your area of expertise is and where it's not. So I think those are great perspectives because it is a mind shift. But when I was at NIH, we did a proof of concept with three different, trials and proof of concept just to see how we could automate with Gen AI. And of course, it was just in test environment, but none of the three that we chose as a team really benefited our client. So it was interesting how we went in thinking, oh, we're just going to change, some processes and this will be great. And it really didn't have, the outcome that we had expected. So it's keeping that mindset of what will be the outcome, not always thinking that AI is the solution. So that was my professional experience. In my personal experience, I, had a property that I wanted to put on the market. And so I went out to just Copilot and asked, questions of who are the top, realtors in the area that would be selling a coastal property at this, particular target price. And it is the prompt engineering that will give you that more specific detail, because I could have just asked it a very general question about the top producing, realtors in the area. But then again, it would have just pointed me, well, this is a realtor who focuses more on, first home buyers versus someone who's buying a second home, so when you're using tools, as you indicated, like Claude is more for developers. Maybe Copilot is more just for brainstorming and getting information and collecting and aggregating data. But then also that human element of then trusting but verifying and then drilling deeper with those prompt questions. So I don't know if that gives you a perspective of how I've been using it in the workplace and then personally, or even just, asking. I wear a Whoop watch, or it's a wearable device. It's not a watch, but it kind of tracks your personal data, your sleep hygiene, your stress, and how you're working out, your sleep recovery, what have you. And then you can do prompt with the AI features within this wearable device to give you more, workouts so that you could improve your, health data. So there's a lot of areas that I see it beneficial, but then it's always trust but verify, because they do hallucinate, and you have to have that insight as to where the data source is coming from.
I think that's great insight. And just as a data point, case law, past cases that you have to reference in your legal pleadings, about 20 to 30% of what general LLM, a Copilot, a Gemini would create for me were completely wrong. DocDraft, trained explicitly on those case law histories, was 100% accurate for me. And that's one of the things that drove me to, you've got to pick that trained AI solution like you pick the trained person. It can't be the generalists for much longer.
Yeah, the trained is really key in the fact that there are different tools out there that are available, but they're constantly learning, and you do have to train them. And that's where, from, I guess, a bigger challenge that we have, or there aren't enough guardrails out there to, I guess, slow down the pace of the acceleration that AI is taking over in either the workforce, impacting labor, and then also just financial industry. It runs the gamut now. So where are those guardrails? And that's the big question. Because not everything is trained and not every AI tool is appropriate for what you're trying to achieve. So keeping, that mindset and that information at the forefront as you're trying to, I guess, pursue and discover. Well, thank you.
Yep. Thanks for sharing, Wendy. Jessica, who works for one of our county's top consulting firms, Ripple Effect, added in chat that she sees the value in more message tailoring to make sure she's hitting on what audiences need and want to hear. We can't strategically communicate the same across all bodies. So in terms of like what would this stakeholder community want or need to hear based on this, I think that goes a long way, because as much information as we have, like as many emails as we're getting, like, are we really putting in more than 30 or 45 seconds to read something before we either decide delete or fully read it? And that goes from emails to Harvard Business Review articles, things of that nature. Mr. Howe, how quickly do you know if you're going to invest in something based on the onset of the message?
You mean as far as the importance of messaging? I mean, I think, like I talked about, soft skills become how we stand out, right? When it comes to those proposals that we all get back from industry, all being generated these days through some semblance of AI, it makes it harder and harder to differentiate. And so communication becomes just critical. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And was it received effectively? Did it meet your strategic intent of that message? And so I think that comment about using it to understand your audience, that is a huge use case where AI can help you make decisions today that make you more effective. And as a middle manager, we all know communication's key up and down the chain. And so I think this is where AI today can bring value to everybody here. It's understanding a tool, that it is a tool, and your relationship with that tool and how you use that tool to achieve that strategic objective that you set forth. That's what's critical versus the general, I'll just throw something at AI and hope it sticks.
Okay, well, we're coming up on time, but we can't thank you enough, sir, for volunteering your time and expertise and wisdom today. If anyone wants to get a hold of you, how best can they do that?
Email's the easiest. So you've got my name, you've got the company, Thalma. So it's jason.howe@thalmasys.com.
Great. I'm sure you'll get a couple LinkedIn follows outside of this as well. So thank you again. Thank you for all our attendees for being members of the chapter and giving up your lunch hour to spend time with us in the spirit of enlightenment. And we look forward to seeing you at future events. For everybody watching this on our YouTube channel, thank you for giving us a chance. Okay, out here. Thank you.